Right, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. These are the 5 things we learned from Arsenal. One, Lens 2 in France. We don't have to get fixated on the loss. You get it, you pick up your losses, and you actually move on. But let's dive into some of the things that we saw in this game, and probably we can work on against Man City, and we don't go into the international break without a win in our last 2 games, or probably losing 2 out of last 2 games before we get into the international break. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Big up to you guys in the comment box below who have given me your thoughts about the game, on the match reaction and the player ratings as well. It's not the best performance, was it? Wasn't the best performance, and I still kind of feel like that hangover from the poor performance. I'm gonna do this one on the close shot only, just to focus on myself, right? So let's get into it. I think number one, Esacalates needs a plan B, and for 3 years now, this has been a song. This has been something that we've been talking about. Now, last campaign, probably we didn't talk about a plan B as much because the team was really doing well and we had durable players. So you had the likes of Odegaard, who played very well till the end of the campaign. You had the likes of SAKA, who are very durable, never got injured and played till the end of the campaign as well. And then there were just a few players that were actually needing to be replaced. And I thought the general plan was actually good. The general plan really worked well. The only problem maybe was in those big games at Anfield away, at Manchester United away. That is where we needed plan B. But this game calls for a plan B. That game that we played against Lens last night, it called for a plan B. It called for Esacalates to go, well, this is not working. How about we evolve into a different system? And he's talked about it before, but I think he enjoys talking about having plan A, plan A2, plan A3, and plan A4. And he actually doesn't have those plans, in my opinion, or he hasn't actually implemented them at the moment. So what the beauty of the plan B is this, and I've written this on my book. If SAKA doesn't work, if plan A doesn't work, if possession doesn't work, and that is the plan. That is the beauty of having 2 plans, or that's the beauty of having 3 plans in a game. That if SAKA doesn't work, or if SAKA comes off early, because SAKA is our most important player, and therefore in every single game, in every single scenario, we've got to picture ourselves without SAKA. We've got to picture ourselves without him in midfield. In attack. And yesterday, what we saw, SAKA on the pitch, Arsenal score. SAKA off the pitch, Arsenal lose every hope, every kind of sense that we will score, and we didn't score again. And he could be out for quite some time. He could be out for a couple of weeks. So if SAKA is out of the team for Man City, and he's out of the team for Chelsea, and he's out of the team for West Ham, and he's out of the team for these good games that we're going to play, Brighton and all, what happens? What happens to the team? So Mikel needs a plan B, and we do not have a plan B at the moment. I've not seen Arsenal's plan B at the moment. Whenever a team comes into a game and they play much better than us, they don't allow us to play into those spaces. They don't allow us to move the ball freely. We struggle. Right? And I don't think we should struggle. I don't think this Arsenal side lacks quality and lacks talent to have 5 plans. I think, in terms of possession, we've got Declan Rice, Odegaard, Kai Havertz, and Fabio Vieira, and Alexander Zinchenko. So that would be our plan B. That would be our plan A, and I think it really works well. Most of the times, it actually works well. We are always on the ball. We are always trying to open up spaces in midfield, and we open up opponents very well. When it doesn't work, then you turn to SAKA and Gabriel Martinelli, who are our elite wingers. You widen the pitch. You encourage them to take on players 1v1 and do that thing. Plan C would be swinging balls in the penalty area for us to head. We have Kai Havertz now, so we no longer go, we do not have a player who actually can head the ball. And I love this with I think it was, I was watching Nottingham Forest. They were beating Burnley 2-1. And the game was in the last 10 minutes. And the manager there introduced Chris Wood. And Chris Wood, I tell you what, Chris Wood with the finest of headers wins the game for Burnley. It's called a plan B, right? When Brennan Johnson doesn't work, when Morgan Gibbs-White and all these fancy players you have in midfield, when the likes of Sangare have been overrun, where do we turn to? But where do Arsenal turn to when Saka, Martinelli, and the midfield is dead? We do not have another option. For me, the other option would be in players like Kai Havertz. The other option would be in players like Reece Nelson, players that can take on players 1v1 and get us going. I think we need a plan B, right? Because yesterday Arsenal really struggled. Like if there is a true definition of struggling, we absolutely struggled with this team. We absolutely struggled with FC Lens. They were so brilliant off the ball. They were so brilliant on the ball. And what I didn't understand about that, I still now, until now, I didn't understand what their game plan was, because they didn't look so deep. They didn't sit deep, so too deep. And you could see that whenever Arsenal were in possession, our possession was nothing. It was pseudo. It was useless because we couldn't penetrate in behind them. And then secondly, when they got the ball, they didn't look to keep it. They actually pierced through at a very, very sharp pace. I just didn't understand their tactics. They were just brilliant. They were purely brilliant. But for me, when a team overruns you, when a team overrides you, you've got to find a plan B. And Mikel has got to understand this. You've got to find a plan B. The way you play against FC Lens in the first half, when everything is not working out, you don't just copy and paste the second system in the second half and hope. It's kind of hit and hope. Like, go back in the second half and try and see if it's gonna work. It's not gonna work because we've already seen it. You've already seen it. It's not working. Can we go to a plan B? Can we try to win this game the ugly way? And that's what I wanted to see Arsenal. If they are not allowing us to penetrate, how about we play in a much better defensive shape, make sure we don't concede, and invite them and probably play that long ball, right? It's what I wanted to see. I want to see something different when a plan is not working. Now we don't have Saka. I just don't want to see Fabio Vieira thrown on the pitch and hoping it works. I don't want to see Emil Smith Rowe thrown on the pitch and hoping it works. I want to see that the plan B is something we are practicing. The plan B is something that Mikel and the team are actually working on, or something they've been working on for quite some time. I'm not seeing that. Although Mikel claims to have a plan A1, plan A2, plan A3, and plan A4, I've not seen those plans. I've not seen those phases, right? I've not seen those phases. I've just not seen them. But anyway, the plan B is something we need. Now, point number 2, rotation. Mikel needs to rotate and needs to learn how to rotate. Yesterday when we were doing our match build-up, big up to whoever put up this comment in the comment box section, someone said that Mikel is not the king of rotation, Cossy. And I absolutely agreed. And that guy was spot on. That guy was absolutely spot on. So, Saka plays against Bournemouth, and Saka picks up an injury against Bournemouth. Yes, it's in a different area, but we know he's tired. We know there is that kind of burnout that is walking through, and probably it's gonna take him a whole season for him to catch up. Why do you play him in the Lens game? We have Man City over the weekend. Why do you play him over the weekend? Sorry, why do you play him against Lens? Why do you take him off very late against Bournemouth after him picking up another injury? I think I kind of feel like the Saka injury was on Mikel Arteta. The Saka injury is clearly on Mikel Arteta. And in this game, like I said yesterday, I don't blame Mikel a lot for what happened on the pitch. It is the players, and we're gonna talk about the players. But Mikel's rotation is bad. Mikel's rotation is it's about favorites. It's about favoritism. He's got favorites. And I was talking to Apollo on the Backfive podcast, and he said every manager has got favorites. But yes, every manager has got favorites. But is it hurting us, right? Because for me, Saka is not rotated. Whether he's good or not, he's not rotated. I think, to be honest, yesterday at halftime, Kai should have come off. Just take him off. Absolutely, just take him off. Rice, in that game, take him off. I think he needs to learn what rotation is. Rotation is not about a few players that you feel uncomfortable with in your side. Rotation is about effectiveness. And that is why clubs rotate. That is why you have 30 men in your squad. It's not about replacing who you feel like is replaceable. It is also replacing those players that feel are irreplaceable. And his rotation tactics at the moment are bad. They are appalling. They are bad, right? Because last season he had an excuse, and when we lost to Brighton in the Carabao Cup, this was his statement. Well, we don't have players to rotate with. He's got 2 strikers now. He's got 2 left wingers. He's got 2 right wingers. He's got 2 number 8s on the left hand side. He's got 2 number 8s on the right hand side. He's got 2 number 6 DMs. He's got 2 players left centre back. He's got 2 left backs, 2 right backs, and probably the only player that is replaceable at Arsenal is William Saliba at the moment. So Mikel's got to understand that rotation is not about, well, Ramsdale is replaceable. I can bring in Raya, right? Rotation is also about Odegaard has not really played well. Rice has not really played well. How about I take them off, right? How about I take them off early and save the game? I thought Thomas Partey could have had a part to play in this game. I thought Mohamed Elneny should have had a part to play in this game because Rice was off the pace. He needed someone to help him, actually, right? Probably not take him off, but someone to help him in this game. Someone to go, well, all we needed to do was to make our midfield, stronger. Bring on Elneny and probably bring on Thomas Partey and make the midfield much better than FC Lens. I still think if our team had raised the bar a little bit, if our team had raised the expectation, if our teams has raised the quality in the second half, we could have won that game. So Mikel's rotation options and his rotation tactics and skills, he's got to work on them because you cannot be a top manager if all you can do is select your 11. You've got to know how to select at least your first 16 players because that is where Arsenal are. We've got a very good first 20 players and each and every one of them needs to play. I thought Emile Smith Rowe created a difference when he actually came on. How about Trossard shifting on the right-hand side and Emile Smith Rowe shifting on the left-hand side and we see what happens? That's what I would have wanted. That's what I would have wanted. That's what I want to see. I want to see rotation. I want to see things that are working apart from our plan A and apart from our starting 11. But again, I'm not going to be overly on Mikel. I don't think it was too much wrong he did in that game. I really don't think so. I don't think he was very, very off. It was the team that was off, and probably we've got to ask ourselves a question. Is it the first time? Is it the first time that we've seen Arsenal drop off? Fulham, first half, drop off. Nottingham Forest, second half, we dropped off. Right? Tottenham Hotspur, second half, we dropped off. So questions have got to be answered here. Point number 3. This is a key lesson. The SAKA injury means everything. He is the heart, he's the messiah, he's the eyes, he's the heartbeat of this team. And now that he's injured, the struggle has now started. The struggles have well and truly started. SAKA is one of the players that have not really played well this campaign. But I tell you what, he has 5 goals and 5 assists in the games that he has played in the campaign so far. So 10 goal contributions already in 10 games for Arsenal. This guy is immense. This guy is immensely important. And why this is actually a key lesson for Mikel is you've got to protect your best player. You've got to protect SAKA. I don't know why SAKA plays the second half of the Bournemouth game. I don't have a problem with SAKA playing against Esacalates, right? But why I have a problem with him playing in this game, in midweek, is he came off injured. Why don't you give the guy a break? Why don't you just give the guy a breather? As simple as that. And now, the guy cannot continue. The guy it's not even an injury from a collision. He just falls down and he cannot continue. That is the worst case scenario you can get from a player. We've seen it with Gabriel Martinelli and we all thought, oh, Gabi will be back soon. We've seen it with Julian Timber, right? We've seen it with Julian Timber. The moment a player just holds the back of his thigh, the back of his knee, or something like that, or in between his thighs, and he goes down and he cannot continue, it is bad. And for me, it is coming from not managing SAKA well. There is no question here. There's no question here. It's about you, Mikel. You've not managed SAKA well. The minutes you've given him, too much. And this team is evolving to an extent that SAKA can even play 45 minutes and be effective. Saka can even play 70 minutes and be effective. And then we bring on another player in Reece Nelson, who should be actually representing in the Champions League more often than none. So this Saka injury means that we will not have him against Man City, most probably. It means that Arsenal have lost their most important player. So they lost Kevin De Bruyne, Man City. We have lost Saka. It's a huge blow. And I want to see where I get from here, because it creates a demand for a plan B now, right? Mikel doesn't want to go with a good plan B. Now it creates a demand for a plan B. Where do you go from here, right? You just can't keep on going. Well, Saka will be there. Saka is now not available. Saka is not in the team. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a hard few days to come. And I hope Mikel Arteta can actually learn a lesson from this one. And I think the big lesson out of this is, whatever happens, whatever you do, you've got to protect your best player. You've got to protect Bukayo Saka. There's no question about that. My point number 4, I'm proud of Gabriel Jesus. There was a positive. There are positive in that game, and I thought Jesus was alright. I really thought he was alright. The goal, absolutely very good, and the fighting spirit. I think Jesus doesn't get enough credit from me and a couple of other Arsenal fans out there. This guy is really good. Absolutely very, very good. And his fighting spirit, you can see. You can actually feel it. You can feel that you've got a number 9. You can feel that you've got a decent striker on the pitch. He was fighting. He was running in behind. He was shifting across. He was doing all the right things right. I'm proud of him. I'm really, really proud of him. And without Saka, probably for a couple of weeks, I presume, Jesus is gonna be the main man against Man City, and he could be the main man until Saka comes back, because Gabi Martinelli is not available now. Saka is not available now. The one player we have up top is Gabriel Jesus. He's going to be absolutely, very, very relevant. So he's got to work on his finishing. He's got to work on his assisting as well. He's got to put in the numbers now, right? Because the two guys that put in the numbers on a regular basis, on a silver platter, are not available. So we've got to find numbers, and he's the guy we have. So he's got to find numbers. He's got to give us numbers. And lastly, can we bounce back after that display, because we were rubbish? It's the big question. And look, Odegaard was asked after the game that what next? What happens next? And he says, we've got to bounce back. Man City, the perfect game for us to bounce back. And that's a lie. When you beat Bournemouth and you beat Lens, you go into the Manchester City game much more confident, in a much better shape. But when you fail to beat those two teams, you cannot be in a much better shape. You're not in a good shape. And I think there's a high possibility we'll lose that game. And it's a high possibility that Arsenal will get in that game trying to bounce back, and Man City will capitalize on us being desperate. They will capitalize on us being desperate, right? We were rubbish. It was a shambles. It's a performance that should never happen again. And I've just done my video in a vest. Yeah. See you soon.